narratives in beauty products is beneficial in helping to raise the standing of women in our current society, a stepping stone to achieve equality, and I do not see why this is an issue. Moreover, it promotes beauty in all aspects rather than one specific beauty standard, i.e., the thin hourglass bodies, and takes the often unhealthy pressure for women needing to abide by these unethical beauty standards, allowing them to feel comfortable in their natural body. In our current status quo, the beauty standards are, yes, they're being set by the industry, which is why we have all these very unrealistic expectations for beauty, which I don't know about you, but we feel that this is extremely damaging and unhealthy. Scientifically and physiologically speaking, women naturally have more body fat than the current unrealistic beauty standards. Our side wants to promote progression and inclusivity, and what other way than making them feel empowered through feminist narratives? Now, I would like to place a rebuttal here about the opposition team saying that, oh, corporations are exploiting the vulnerability of women. No, they are not. Well, okay, let me first start by saying that advertisements and corporations, yes, they do target specific things. They do have specific ideologies, but that's just the nature of advertisement. And they're only considered unethical and predatory if they truly target a specific vulnerability, if they truly cause like a negative connotation. However, in this case, the beauty companies are abiding by the feminist narratives, which is to promote body positivity, body inclusivity, racial inclusivity, all of those things that are good for a progressive society. So therefore, their point does not stand that this is predatory or unethical in any way. They keep saying about, oh, if we do this, we'll have like they are setting like a bad image for women and all that stuff. But again, this is not true because we are abiding once again by feminist narratives. And not to mention that the opposition side has not brought up any type of counterfactual, any type of alternative as to how they want to empower women. So if they have not brought up any alternative and then they're just shunning all of these possibilities to empower women, then do they just not want to empower women? Do they just want to advocate for the status quo where women evidently have a lower standing than men, where equality is not necessarily achieved? Therefore, I think opposition has failed in setting up their case or any type of alternative to actually challenge, and they do not show how they actually want to help women in any case. So as we can see, the benefits run on both sides of our counterfactual. For the women, they get to feel empowered and more comfortable, and they can feel healthy and not feel subjected, and potentially have an overall better and more equal standing in society. As for the companies, they get to earn more profit, which contributes to the economy of the country. We only stand to gain, and we don't stand anything to lose. So before I end my speech, I'll be taking any POIs. All right, I think there are no POIs. So with that, I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you to the Deputy Prime Minister for that speech. I apologize if it's recording halfway because I was recording just now, but I don't know why it stopped and then just continued on just now. So my apologies for that. But other than that, can we invite the Deputy Leader Opposition to give their speech here?
Hello, I am the Deputy Leader of Opposition. Just like all my other team members, I only accept verbal POIs. And I will begin my speech. I'll begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. First, I would like to start off with some clarifications. Since their first speaker and second speaker did not give a definition on the motion, they gave definitions on feminist narratives only, I am going to assume that my leader of opposition's definition of the motion is to be accepted in this debate, and I will be debating on that definition of the motion. I would like to clarify that we are not debating about moving away from the current beauty standards as per the Deputy Prime Minister has said. Today's debate is that we are debating whether we should support corporates, including feminist narratives, in the advertisement of fashion and beauty products. the government side, they are debating about the feminist narrative only. All their points are about feminism movement and feminism itself. They left out one of the other stakeholders, as per what my leader of opposition has said, is the beauty industry. Like the motion, it is our burden today. Our burden today is to prove. Our burden today is to prove whether these companies capitalize and weaponize the phrases, such as these empowering phrases that the government side has said, by making women feel insecure about it to meet certain standards. It is going to be much more worse off if we allow this to happen. If we allow the government to put these phrases in the products and making women feel insecure. And my first speaker has already explained this point. However, I will give a little bit more elaboration. See, when you put in these phrases, the beauty standard are defining the beauty industry are defining the beauty standards. Like my leader of opposition has said, the beauty industry are the one defining the standards. They're the one defining the image that each woman should have. Now, I'd like to move on back to my rebuttals. My rebuttals are, first, the deputy prime minister, he said that they said that corporations are not exploiting women. However, he did not further explain on this point. He just said they are not. Where is your explanation and reasoning? If you do not give one, I'm going to assume that you're just saying no and you agree with our explanation and reasoning. They also said that our points are predatory or unethical. However, I do not see how our points are predatory or unethical, and he did not provide any explanations to the words predatory or unethical. So, and Gov also squirreled some of our points to their benefits. They rebutted some of our points. They squirreled some of our points and then only rebutted them. And they also said that we're advocating for the status quo. We're advocating for not supporting female equality. However, that's not what we're debating today, and that's not our points. We are debating whether we should let's include female narratives in the advertisement of beauty products. I will move on to my points. See, why we shouldn't include female narratives in the advertisement of beauty products is because these beauty companies, they shouldn't define feminism. They aren't able to. They usually. I would like to finish my point. They will usually only misinterpret. Sorry, I have braces. They only misinterpret the meaning of feminism. See, what do companies want? They want money, they want profit. They don't really care about feminism. They are doing this for the benefit of the company. They don't really care about the feminist movement. They don't truly know and don't have the ability to properly speak for and define feminism. Because of this, they will have a generalization of the needs of women of color in order to fulfill the requirement of diversity. Therefore, this is a performative activism. It is a show the companies put on to appease the consumers, to get more customers, to earn more money. Let's take, for example, foundations in the beauty standards. After how many years of pleading have we only got more colors of foundation other than white? And even now, there's only one shade of black after all that begging, all that pleading, and asking these companies to add other shades of foundation. We only have one shade of black, 2 shades of black compared to the 12 shades of peach and white available. Up until this date, the only company who clearly has more shades of black is made by the black woman. See, the big companies, the big fashion brands, they don't really care about the consumers. They don't really care about feminism. All they care is about money, earning money. Which product earns them more money, then they'll create more. See, the impact of this is that it lessens women being treated to the beauty standards. It lessens the woman. The woman would have to follow the beauty standards. The woman would have to wear the white foundation. They would have to whitewash themselves. See, and then the opposition, they might say that people think that using these products will make them feel much more inclusive in the feminist movement. These so-called feminist inclusive products. However, it's less likely to happen. There is a misrepresentation of the feminist movement. Is still my point. Of the feminist movement, all the companies are doing is just slapping a phrase and saying it's support to feminism, but not actually doing anything that helps the movement. Go on.
What is your counterfactual?
Sorry?
What is your counterfactual?
For what?
What is your counterfactual instead of supporting feminism in beauty products?
We aren't arguing about the support of feminism. All we're doing is we shouldn't include the feminism's narrative in the beauty products, and I'm explaining why we shouldn't do that. All of my points are explaining that. We're not saying we don't include feminism altogether. It's just that we don't support it. We're not saying abolish it. We're saying don't support it. And my other point is that these companies aren't genuine. That's why we don't support it. This is, like I said, it's performative activism. It is a show they put on. It is a facade to show that they are changing and following the movement, because it is currently the most disgusting amongst people. They don't actually implement a change in their company's policy or corporate culture. The impact of this is that time and time again, at multiple different levels of different arguments raised by multiple speakers, has government spoken about their support for the feminist movement. Corporates in Gulf's world rampantly exploit women's insecurities, stand starkly against the whole direction of this debate on both sides of the debate. Where feminism is agreed to be a positive movement and should be supported, again, I as a member of the opposition would like to emphasize our utmost support for the feminist movement. But rather, we do not consider the addition of feminist narratives inside of the advertisement of fashion and cosmetic products. It is not only effective, but rather harmful to the feminist movement as a whole, going against the core values of the movement itself. I hope that answers your POI, and this is also an explanation to my point. With that, I conclude my speech.
Thank you to the Deputy Leader Opposition for that speech. Now can we invite the government whip to give their speech here?
Hi, before I begin, am I audible?
Yes, you're both audible and visible.
Right, so I go by he, him. I would like my POIs in chat, please. So if you want to POI me, just type POI in the chat. All right, so with that out of the way, I will begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. Hi, I am the whip speaker for the government team debating under today's motion. And before I begin my substantive, I would like to give out a bit of clarification about our characterization. So the opposition team has asked us a few questions. I'll be answering those now. They stated that we did not give a definition of the motion. However, our first speaker has already very clearly stated that examples of feminist narratives that we want to insert, that we support being inserted into beauty products, are things like body inclusivity, body positivity, body diversity, like all of the fashion brands that are in the info slides. What this includes are dresses for all sizes, makeup for all colors, and less will be focused on the standard hourglass figure or any current beauty standards set by our current beauty industry. With that out of the way, actually no. The other question that they gave us is that we didn't talk about the stakeholder that is the beauty industry, and instead the only stakeholder that we talk about are women, essentially. The stakeholders in this debate, both teams have already agreed, are the beauty industry and women. The stakeholder that is women is very clearly impacted and very clearly explained by my first and second speakers already. If women are not allowed to express themselves, if women are not allowed to be empowered, it will be unhealthy for society because 1, society is not going to progress. 2, women are not going to be empowered, meaning women are going to be afflicted by mental illnesses, they are going to be unhealthy, they have to adhere to this strict hourglass figure body type or any form of unrealistic beauty standards today. Those are the 2 things that impact women in today's society. And the other stakeholder that we talk about has been mentioned by my second speaker already. Beauty industries will also earn money for this. It's a win-win situation. Women get what they want, the beauty industry gets what they want. That is why we support today's motion. Now, the main point of the opposition team is that the beauty industry is earning money. However, they are weaponizing the insecurity of women to earn profits, and they are exploiting women, quote unquote, to earn money. So now I would like to ask the opposition team, what is your definition of exploitation? What is your definition of weaponization? Weaponizing something only applies if that something is bad, correct? Weaponizing something or exploiting something only applies if the result that is achieved from this process is bad. For example, one form of exploitation is we exploit women in the form that we only give them very certain colors of makeup, like you stated, very certain colors of foundation that do not apply to all women. That is exploitation of them to earn money. However, exploiting women to earn money doesn't apply here
POI?
because rejected. Exploiting women to earn money doesn't apply here because women here are getting empowerment. This is what they want and this is what they deserve. They are getting exactly what they need. How is that exploitation if the company is giving them what they want and the company is receiving what it wants? This is just a good business transaction. It's not exploitation. They state that companies, they just want money. They don't care about the feminist movement. They don't understand the feminist movement. They don't know what it stands for. Yes, currently that is true. The beauty companies do not understand our current movement. However, that is why we support the inclusion of these movements in the beauty company. And they're under this misunderstanding that the companies themselves are going to
POI?
decide what the feminist narratives are. Let me finish my rebuttal first. They're under this misunderstanding that the companies are deciding what feminist narratives are. No, they are feminist narratives. Feminist narratives are decided by the feminists. They're not decided by the businesses. It's not performative activism, because performative activism is essentially, it leads to nothing. It achieves nothing. It's just activism for the sake of activism. Look at me. I look good because I am doing a good thing. That's performative activism. But this is actual activism because it results in women having a wider choice of beauty standards, a wider choice of makeup, a wider choice of fashion. This is inclusivity, and this is what we are trying to advocate for. The opposition team state that, oh, after all this begging in modern society, we only have this minuscule amount of foundation colors. The only foundation color that is black we have is actually by a black company. Yes, we agree, that's a problem. That is the exact problem that we are trying to solve. There is not enough inclusivity in beauty standards today that is imposed by the fashion industry. That is why the fashion industry and the beauty industry should include feminist narratives so that more foundation colors can exist, so that more women have access to beauty, so that more women have access to the things that other women have, and they are not excluded from it just because they're of a different color or just because they're of a different body type. I'll take your POI now. Yeah.
All right, POI is that when you say performance activism is about, oh, look at me, I'm doing something. Do you know that activism is to advocate for a certain movement or a certain thing that's happening? And performative activism means that you are acting like you're advocating for it without actually advocating for it?
Yes, I do know what that is. That is my point exactly. Activism is advocating for the movement. What do you mean by advocating for the movement? If you advocate for the movement, then you achieve good results for that movement, correct? Performative activism means you advocate for that movement in a style that you are just saying empty things and you're not actually doing anything about it. You're not achieving any results. That's performative activism. But in this scenario, if you do include feminist narratives in beauty companies, in beauty products, that's not performative activism because that's actually achieving something. It results in something good for the movement. So that is actual activism. It doesn't matter what the goal of the company is. Yes, the companies want money, but in the process of the companies getting money, the women also get their inclusivity. The feminist narrative also gets injected into beauty products, into fashion products, and that is beneficial for women. So it doesn't matter that if the companies just want money, because let's be honest, whatever we do, the companies are going to just want money, right? Even if we don't include these feminist narratives, they are going to just want money. So we might as well achieve what we want while allowing them to get that money, because in the process of them getting that money that they want, we also get what we want, which is inclusivity and body positivity. I hope that answers your POI. The last thing the opposition states is that, oh, the beauty industry currently makes current women insecure. Yes, that is our point exactly. The beauty industry currently makes current women insecure. That is why we require change. That is why we want to include feminist narratives in advertisements of fashion and beauty products, so we can advertise these products for body positivity, body inclusivity, everything the feminist narrative stands for. That is why we are trying to change the current beauty industry that makes current women insecure. So, to end my speech, I would like to ask the opposition team once again, what is your counterfactual? What do you want society to look like if you do not want to inject feminist narratives into advertisements of that fashion and beauty products? I end my speech now. Thank you.
Can I please have 30 seconds?
Great. Thank you to the government whip for that speech. Also, before we proceed, remember to not POI past 6. I am posting timestamps in the chat, so I think you can look up for that also. So yeah. Now, without further ado, can we invite the opposition whip to give their speech here?
I'm the opposition speak. I'm the opposition whip, and I'll be starting my speech in 3, 2, and 1. First of all, I would like to begin my speech by reinforcing my first and second speakers' facts. The exploitation and profit of women in security is prevalent in oppositions in government's world because it is human nature and companies can exploit them to earn more money. The corporations merely want women to buy their stuff, and the inclusion of these feminist narratives is purely facade. It is not real. It is a front so that these companies look friendly to a greater audience. They look friendly to the feminists. They are not doing anything substantial. They are merely putting up a front to earn more money, exploit the women of this society. And this is not something we want or have in our world. Historically, the corporates are the people who get to shape the beauty standards. This is true as there are many examples in this current society, as fleshed out by my first speaker. These feminist narratives, these phrases, they act as an invisible barrier and voice. They are telling the women that they should try to become like the image. This is completely, utterly against the feminist narratives that they are trying to push this feminist narrative. Yet they are not following the core values. These companies will then profit from the women who are insecure about their body. These women will buy the products sold by these companies, and then they'll encourage them to achieve this perfect image of the companies, which again stands against the direction of feminism. As for my second speaker's points, women will feel more empowered and comfortable when the corporates include these feminist narratives as a front. The empowerment of women, when so-called empowerment, self-expression and self-confidence, as well as this overcoming these unrealistic beauty standards, comes at the cost of corporations weaponizing insecurities against women, profiting off of, as well as exploiting women in their weaker state, is standing starkly against the direction of feminism, which both government and opposition we both support. Beauty standards are set by the current society. They say beauty standards are set by the current society, but I strongly disagree. Beauty standards are set by the fashion and beauty industry of today's world, not us normal people. They say they get to overcome unrealistic beauty standards. But even with these feminist narratives, fashion and beauty standards still focus heavily on appearances, especially in terms of advertisements, by including these feminist narratives inside advertisements by cosmetic companies, as in the case for Gulf's World. We are not debating about moving away from current beauty standards. To clarify, we are debating whether we should support corporates, including feminist narratives in the advertisement of fashion or beauty products. The government, are debating about the feminist narrative only. They left out one of the other stakeholders, as per my leader of opposition, is the beauty industry. They say the empower of women comes with the inclusion of these feminist narratives. But as I have said, when so-called empowerment, self-expression, and self-confidence, POI accepted.
You say that this is weaponizing insecurities of women, but how is it weaponizing insecurity if this is in fact removing the insecurity of women?
The government's mechanism is to exploit and profit off of women's insecurities. This is raised by the fact that they are cosmetic companies. They focus on the looks and they are profiting off of women's insecurities, because when they give these feminist narratives, they are merely encouraging women to follow these beauty standards. Time and time again, at multiple different levels of different arguments raised by multiple speakers, has government spoken about their utmost support for the feminist movement. This point stands starkly against the whole direction of the debate on both sides of the debate, where feminism is agreed to be a positive movement. I, as a member of the opposition, would like to emphasize our utmost support for the feminist
POI.
movement, but rather we do not consider the addition of feminist narratives inside of advertisements of fashion or cosmetic products. It is not only not effective, but rather harmful to the feminist movement, which government claims to support, yet we have shown how we support it. POI accepted.
Please explain how it is harmful to the feminist movement if we give what the feminist movement what they want.
The feminist movement has never asked for these feminist narratives in the advertisements. They want representation. You are giving us misrepresentation. You're not giving us an accurate picture of what the feminist movement really is. In government's world, women are blatantly, rampantly, and commonly exploited of all their money. They are exploited not only in their values, their money, but they are completely misrepresented. Their whole battle is an uphill battle as a result of, in government's world, the public opinion, the public image of feminists and women is completely tarnished by the inclusion of these so-called feminist narratives in beauty advertisements. And with this, I rest my case. Holy shit. POI me twice.
Thank you to the opposition whip for that speech. Now can we invite the opposition reply to give their speech here?
Okay. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah, you're
Alright.
audible.
All right. Then I am the reply speaker. Wait, time. I am the reply speaker for the opposition, and I'll begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. I would like to call out their third speaker. He gave clarifications and new points, which isn't allowed in the whip, if I am not mistaken. In debates, the whips aren't allowed to give new points. That is only what the first and second speaker are allowed to do. I would like to call him out on that. He also gave clarifications. And their definition, their third speaker, when they gave definitions for the debate, their first and second speaker did not give clear definitions for the motion. They only gave clear definitions on female narratives. Only then, when their third speaker was speaking, did they try to clarify their motion fully. They had ample time to respond to us when my first speaker has brought it up. Their second speaker, they actually could have responded to us and our definition during their second speaker, because my first speaker has brought it up. When the government team, they gave rebuttals, they just kept on saying how our points is wrong or how it's untrue and it won't actually happen, but they gave no clear explanation to how their points are true. They just kept saying, oh, opposition is saying this, and it's untrue, and they just move on. They just said it is untrue, and they didn't give any elaboration for how it is untrue. When they said their points, they gave no clear explanation on how their points is true either. Or they just said, their main thing was that they said that, oh, by doing this, they can empower women. They can empower women. Women will get empowered. Women will be comfortable in their body. How? How so? How does this female narrative empower them? They did not further elaborate on that. Therefore, their points aren't worth to be taken in. This is one of the reasons why we should win this debate. Next, they did not address when my leader of opposition and deputy leader of opposition gave definitions and clarification. So I am to assume that our definition on the opposition side is to be taken in, is to be accepted. They kept asking for a counterfactual. This is another thing that they kept on asking for. However, why do we need one? This isn't a this house regrets motion. This is a this house supports motion. We are just there to debate about what should we support on this certain thing or not. Should they, the government side, support inserting female narratives into the advertisements of these companies, and us on opposition side is to prove that these companies capitalize and weaponize these phrases by making women feel insecure about meeting the certain standards. And it's going to be much worse off if we support this, if we allow this to happen. Now, we are not saying, again, I would like to repeat what they have already said, that we have already proven that we shouldn't support this, and we never said that we should completely abolish it, as per my leader of opposition and deputy leader of opposition. So that is another reason why we should win the debate. Another thing is that they don't have a clear mechanism. So the lack of engagement is because of them. They failed to clarify for the motion up until their third speaker, who tried to do it, which shouldn't happen. They should have clarified it during their first or second speaker. They should have clarified their own definition early on. They only tried to do it properly by the third speaker, and it's not even that clear as well. So these reasons above are why we should win the debate. We explained our point and further elaborated on why our points are true, and also answered many of their accusations. But they did not. All they did was saying, my point is true, and that's it. They just kept on saying that and saying that. And they also, their first and second speaker, sorry, not first and second, their second and third speaker has also squirreled some of our points when rebutting them. Therefore, it should not be taken into consideration. With that, I end my speech. Thank you.
Thank you to the opposition reply for that speech. Now can we invite the government reply to give their speech and end this debate here.
Hi, excuse me, am I audible?
Yes, you're both audible and visible.
Oh wait, give me a second, let me start my timer. Okay, I will begin my reply speech in 3, 2, 1. Honorable adjudicator, the opposition is under this misguided impression that using feminist narratives instead makes women feel a need to be more perfect, rather than make women feel confident about themselves. They claim that these feminist narratives being used in advertising beauty products and fashion is somehow abiding by the industry standards of beauty, which is in fact what we, as the government team, have been continuously arguing against throughout all 3 of our speeches. We, as the government team, we are arguing for the beauty standards set by the feminist movement itself and not the industry beauty standards. And opposition has completely neglected that and has completely ignored that and instead made claims that we have never said. Which the opposition has also completely misunderstood in today's debate. They have completely misunderstood our case, and today opposition has failed to prove their stance. And I, as the reply speaker, I'll be analyzing the main clashes in today's debate, focusing on today's content, and tell you why we, as the government team, we should take today's debate. So now into the main clashes, there are 3 main clashes in today's debate. Number 1, we talk about the beauty standards. Number 2, they talk about the exploitation of insecurities. And number 3, the progress in society. So first clash, the unrealistic beauty standards of today. Opposition claims that these unrealistic beauty standards have been set by the beauty industry. And by including these feminist narratives, we only encourage the unrealistic beauty standards set by the industry once again. However, we as the government, we have clarified in both our mechanism, in all of our speeches, that these unrealistic beauty standards are exactly what we are working against, because when we include these feminist narratives, we essentially reduce the pressure, the emphasis placed on the unrealistic beauty standards, because we encourage the feminist standard of beauty, where we will include and encourage all forms and all types of beauty. So hence, in fact, we advocate for moving away from these unrealistic beauty standards, because that's why we support it, because we are able to move away from the status quo of all these unrealistic beauty standards, because we think that it's better for us to move away from it, for a feminist movement to be able to benefit from this. And so the opposition has somehow claimed that they do not discourage the support of feminism, but instead completely neglected our attempts to include feminism in beauty products so that feminism can be supported. They claim to support feminism, but they do not want to include feminism at all. So how is the opposition in any way in support of feminism when they don't want to include feminism, when they don't want to encourage feminism, when they don't want to promote it at all, when they don't want to promote the values, the ideals of feminism? So they have also not given any sort of counterfactual for the lack of feminist narratives in the beauty industry. So we take this clash quite obviously. Now on to the second clash, the exploitation of insecurities. Some opposition claims that corporations are merely weaponizing and exploiting these women's insecurities when they include feminist narratives in beauty and fashion advertisements. This is simply not true, because number 1, as my third speaker has, weaponizing only applies when the result of it is bad. But feminist narratives do not cause a bad result, because it in fact empowers women and allows women to become more confident, which is exactly what we want, which is exactly what the feminist movement is aiming for. And number 2, opposition neglects that these feminist narratives come from the feminist movement itself. And that opposition is also under the impression that feminist narratives are somehow decided by the beauty industry. But in reality, these feminist narratives come from the feminist movement and are used in beauty advertisements to promote the feminist standards and not the unrealistic beauty standards. Opposition tells us that it's just a front, it's just a facade, but they fail to acknowledge that this facade, in fact, achieves results that support feminism. How is it a facade if it helps feminism and helps women to become empowered? They claim that it is a facade, but they fail to provide us with an alternative that helps empower women. They just keep telling us it's a facade, but they don't acknowledge these results. Now, third class progress in society, they claim that it is reinforcing these unrealistic beauty standards when we have repeated time and time again how it's not weaponization and how it helps and progresses the feminist movement. The opposition has been contradictory throughout all three of their speeches. They said the feminist movement has never asked for inclusive body products, yet they said they have been begging for more colors of foundation yet never received any. The entire opposition's case is based off saying things that we have never said before and basically calling us out on things that we have never claimed. They have failed to prove that but not prove. They have lacked any substantive material, whereas we have proved but not approved. So with all these clashes resolved in our favor, there are two sides in today's debate: progress in feminism or harming debate or harming women as a whole. Thus, we should take today's debate as government side. Thank you.
Thank you to the government reply for that speech. I thank you for this wonderful debate. I think it was a really good debate. So because this is a silent round, which means that I wouldn't be giving my OA after this. And we'll know the results right after the break announcement. But despite that, I do highly encourage that after the break announcement, only after the break announcement, by the way, you do approach me on Discord to sort of know the reasonings to why I will give a certain team a win over the other. And I'll be more than glad to clarify it to you and to tell you my justifications behind the verdict to ensure that, you know, the round is as fair as possible. So I'll just drop my Discord tag and do feel free to DM me after the break announcement. So yeah, here's my Discord tag. Just follow me on Discord. Congrats for making it this far, and I wish the best to both teams for the breaks. Yeah. Okay, cool.
All right. Thanks for the debate and
Thank
thanks
you
for
so much.
educating us.
Thank
Yeah.
you. It was a really
And
good debate.
I would like to apologize for my outfit. He was really nervous just now.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Okay.
Thank you for the debate.
Yeah, great debate, guys.
GG.